So the third episode of American Horror Story Delicate has just been released, and it's still just as confusing as what it has been in the previous two. However, I'm loving it. The darkness that's present and the ties to Satan are something that were made even more prominent in this episode, and we're only just getting started with the sinister things that it looks like are going to be happening. So let's recap, break down, and explain all that there was to take away from this episode. So let's get into it. Here is American Horror Story Delicate Season 12 Episode 3 Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The meaning of the Latin phrase. During this episode, we saw that when Anna went down into the basement of Talia's holiday home, there was a door that led into a cave that she ultimately got stuck in, and was met with the two individuals that we saw earlier on, which were dressed in some kind of satanic outfit that seemed to mirror either a crow or a raven. Something which did have some importance earlier on in the episode as well, with us hearing them squawking several times when Anna went into the forest. As they captured her, they were uttering two lines in Latin. Once translated, it translates into "May the children of our God live, hell O fear, hell Satan." Considering that these two individuals were doing something to Anna like what happens inside of the clinic that she goes to with her own doctor, and also the fact that Anna said that she felt as though she could feel kicking from the baby once she woke up, I wonder if she could be giving birth to Satan or some kind of demonic creature. We must remember as well, within the title sequence for this season there is a shot of the baby, and it appears to look demonic due to the claws that it has at the end of its fingers. So maybe these crow-type figures may have wanted Anna's baby that was inside of her to no longer be around, so that they could instead replace it with Satan, or the demon that it looks as though they want her to give birth to. That's my presumption anyway. As Anna was walking into the main hall where the chair was placed, before entering it, there were jars that looked as though they were filled with babies or parts of them, so it was very strange. In folklore and first documented in literature in the 1800s is a set of demons called owls. Owls are known to interfere with pregnancies and destroy what is currently there and replace it with an imp, a form of folklore demon, something which seems to be very similar to what's going on in the show. Whilst I don't think that this is exactly that, it could be something that has some kind of similarity or inspiration behind it, as it very much seems as though the process of destroying and replacing has taken place. Mrs. Preecher and the Crows. So Mrs. Preecher took a bit of a turn in this episode, and it very much seemed as though she was looking out for Anna to a certain degree. When Anna was walking into the forest, she found a fire on the ground, and up in the corner she saw Mrs. Preecher sitting up in a tree, almost perched there like a bird. This is something that I think is rather important, because as Anna was walking into the forest, we heard birds squawking several times. To me, it sounded like it could be coming from a crow. Crows are said to be symbolic of a number of different things. They seem to represent rebirth, something which it looks as though is going to be happening with the child that's inside of Anna, and there also seem to be messengers from hell. This is most prominent in witchcraft, something that we know there have been some links to in this season already, especially with Mrs. Preecher discussing it on Preacher Speaks. The fact that Mrs. Preecher was giving Anna messages in this episode such as "I've been looking for you, look out for her," and it also seeming as though she was communicating with Anna through the calendar, it makes me think that Mrs. Preecher could be the crow that's been sent from hell to give certain messages to Anna about the child that she's going to be carrying inside of her. This to me also makes me question the legitimacy of the artist that Dex is working with, the one that looks like his former partner Adeline. She was dressed in all black and had dark black hair, very similar to what those figures were like earlier on. So I think she's definitely connected to the sinister things that are going on in some capacity. Remember that piece of art in episode 1? Yeah, that was strange. The temptation of the forbidden fruit. There was a really interesting moment in this episode which tied back to the passage of the Bible in the book of Genesis that we saw when this season first opened. If you remember, we saw the passage, "Unto the woman he said, I will multiply thy pain and thy conception. In pain thou shalt bring forth children." This section in the Bible was focused around the story of Adam and Eve, and them being tempted by the serpent into eating the fruit, something which went on to change the way that God treated Adam and Eve. This is said to be the time where, due to Eve's actions, God made sure that in order to enjoy the life of a child, and for the beauty of life to be created, one must go through the pain of childbirth first, something which wasn't in place before. In this episode, we saw that Dex was sitting there and he tried to make Anna eat an apple that was from the basket that was sent to the door. the forbidden fruit. So I think this could mean a couple of different things. Is Dex the serpent and he's actually an evil entity? Or with Anna blinking and having consumed the fruit, does that mean that she's now going to have to go through a large amount of pain in order to be able to have the baby? Something which these demonic figures and the likes of Mrs. Preecher are going to be causing. I think that could well be the case. Is any of this real? Personally, I think that a lot of it is going on inside of Anna's head. For example, if we look at some major things in this season so far, the crazy woman being hit on the head, Mrs. Preecher's accounts being deleted, Nurse Ivy doing an examination, the person breaking into Anna's apartment, and the dolls that keep being found, it very much seems as though Anna could be imagining a lot of what we're seeing. The dolls have been discontinued for 15 years, and every time that she finds one, there's something to do with her stomach being harmed on it. Something which not everybody knows about. With the passage of time passing by extremely quickly, she could be blacking out, doing these things to the dolls, and then placing them in locations for her to find later on down the line. There's a lot of time that is unaccounted for with Anna, and I think that could be where a lot of the answers lie to the questions that we have. I just hope that we do eventually find out what she got up to when time would pass by really quickly. Overall review. I thought this was a good episode of the show. I much preferred it to last week. It really feels like we're starting to lean into the darkness that the show has embedded within its core and become most known for. Right now, it truly is a guessing game as we're left to wonder what the hell is going on, what is real, what isn't, and what's going on inside of Anna's head. I think it's definitely a cocktail of a bit of everything. A lot of it is definitely going on inside of Anna's head, as there are so many different arms to the story that nobody else sees other than her, such as the dark figures in the store when the clerk was there, Mrs. Preecher in the woods, the artist that was with Dex, and also the extremely sped up passage of time. Maybe Anna could be holding on to some previous trauma that she's had over the loss of a baby in the past, and that's why this experience has triggered something inside of her. I guess time will tell as the episodes go on. With only 2 episodes to go until the mid-season finale, I'm hoping that it's going to be an interesting final 2 episodes before we have to wait until 2024 for it to conclude. I'm hoping there will be a sense of resolution whilst also leaving it on a cliffhanger so the excitement is there. So, there you have it, American Horror Story Delicate Season 12 Episode 3 Ending Explained. If you want to see more videos such as Endings Explained, theories and predictions and character breakdowns, then click on the I button, or alternatively you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @brainpilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What did you think of this episode? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.